Welcome to Southern Sense Talk Radio with your host, the radio chick, Annie Ubelis. Join Annie on Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with an open chat room full of her regulars. And yes, you can even call in. Call 917-889-3675. That's 917-889-3675 to be a part of the action on the phone line. Not able to listen live? Not a problem. You can always catch Annie, the radio chick, and Southern Sense Talk Radio podcast in archives at southern-sense.com. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Southern Sense the right way.
Woo! Welcome back. You're here listening to Southern Sense, if I can talk. Here on Blog Talk Radio, American Patriot Radio, SHR Media, High Plains Daily News, Kinetic Hi-Fi, The Fix FM out of Charleston, South Carolina, and still sitting at number 16 near the top 100 conservative talk shows at TopTalkRadio.com. I'm the hostess with the mostest, with my tongue in backwards, the radio chick, along with my co-host and author and host of the website, The Original Radicals, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Curtis, I cannot talk for anything today. Help!
Hey, I see. That happens, though. Get a little tongue-tied. I wouldn't want to be the press secretary right now, though.
No, there is so much that has been going on, and we're being hit with the news nonstop. It's good news in many cases, but I'm telling you, we have so much to talk about, and we've got two absolutely fantastic guests joining us. At quarter after the hour, we're going to have author and journalist Jack Engelhard, who's going to be with us. He's got a new book out, which is an excellent, fun book to read. It's titled News Anchor Sweetheart, and it's written in the style or taking the character of a former Fox News host who's no longer with Fox News and with another station. So we'll be talking to him about his book and about what's going on today. And at the second half of the show, we've got comedian and TV producer, movie producer, Rodney Lee Conover joining us again. So we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to do, Curtis. So, boy, I want to welcome everyone that's sitting in the studio listening in on their smart devices, as well as those that are joining us now in the chat room. Feel free to post if you are listening in the studio and do want to partake in the conversation. Please remember to press 1. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you are only listening in. Curtis, are we ready to get this show rolling?
Yeah, I'm ready. Looks like we got some great guests, as you stated before, so let's get the show on the road.
Here we go. Those that listen to the show know that we start off each and every show with a dedication to a fallen hero. And today's show is being dedicated, unfortunately, to another fallen law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty, Sergeant Collin James Rose of Wayne State University Police Department in Michigan. His end of watch was Wednesday, November 23rd of last year. And this is from the Officer Down Memorial page that you can find at odmp.org. Sergeant Collin Rose succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained the previous day while questioning a suspicious person near the university's downtown campus. Sergeant Rose was in an area that had experienced numerous thefts from vehicles the previous day. He informed dispatchers that he was making contact with a suspicious person in front of 3650 Lincoln Street. During the encounter, Sergeant Rose attempted to detain the man, but the subject suddenly pulled out a gun and shot him in the head. The subject fled the scene and remained still at large. Sergeant Rose served with the Wayne State University Police Department for 5.5 years and served as a canine officer with the agency. He was posthumously promoted to the rank of sergeant. He had previously served with the Richland Police Department. He is survived by his fiancée. Sergeant Rose was a member of Police Unity Tour. And this is from Fox 2 Detroit. A final farewell to slain Wayne State University police officer Collin Rose. For the second time this year, St. Joan of Arc Church in St. Clair Shores served as a venue for an officer killed in the line of duty. Hundreds of police cars lined the street as part of an outpouring of emotion for the fallen Wayne State police officer. You look out and see all this, said Randy Gutierrez, a community member. It's amazing, heartwarming. It's tragic all at the same time. We were trained to be ready for anything except losing one of our own, said Wayne State Police Chief. Sergeant Rose was shot in the head off campus while investigating a recent car break-ins. The magnitude of the loss and the way this officer lost his life led to a plea for peace from the president of the funeral mass. We have to do something to stop the violence. All too often we talk about it, and I think we need to do a better job of making it happen, said Reverend Monsignor Michael Bergeron. I want the public to know the dangers that our heroes are facing, Police Chief James Craig said. By all accounts, Sergeant Rose was a peacemaker, following his passion to protect and serve. Collin loved to smile, and it's amazing to hear the stories over and over again how this young man did such good work for so many people. In high school, he decided to become a police officer and was able to couple it with his love for animals by becoming a canine handler for his department. One of his 2 dogs also in attendance among the dozens of other canine handlers. He loved his dog, the police chief said. I find it absolutely fascinating watching the news. His dog, Wolverine, was having a hard time coming into Ford Field and didn't want to approach the casket. His family's not grieving alone. Those in attendance today make sure that they know that. We will never make up for his loss, but make sure his legacy lives on. The university has established an endowed scholarship in Collin's name, said WSU President M. Roy Wilson. And in the Detroit News by Kim Kozlowski. WSU President M. Roy Wilson said Collin Rose will be posthumously awarded the master's degree he was working on. Fallen Wayne State University Police Sergeant Collin James Rose will be awarded a master's degree during graduation ceremonies, and a $25,000 endowment scholarship will be set up in his name, following the approval by the Board of Governors. The honors come 3 days after WSU Police Chief Anthony Holt posthumously promoted Rose to sergeant and head of the K-9 unit and bestowed him with the highest distinction, a Valor of Honor. The scholarship was seeded with funds from President M. Roy Wilson's fund, but WSU spokesman Matt Lockwood said others can make contributions. Rose, a WSU police officer since 2011, was shot in the head on November 22nd while investigating a series of thefts. He died from his injuries the next day at the age of only 29. Gary Pollard, who was board chair, read a citation of honor from the board that commended Rose, who was killed in the line of duty for his exceptional valorous service. Quote, he was a patient and highly skilled dog trainer who developed the department's K-9 unit to incorporate new capabilities, Pollard said. Outside the agencies such as the Secret Service and FBI frequently sought out his ability as a K-9 officer. Rose worked hard to get to know his community and build bridges with them during a time in the nation when police-community relations are often strained. Pollard added that the Board of Governors were proud to commend Rose in recognition of his heroism, hard work, and selflessness. He serves as an inspiring example for the entire campus community of how valor and civil service can help build great communities. And his legacy as a hero will not be forgotten. Today's show is dedicated to Sergeant Collin James Rose. It is also dedicated to all the brave men and women out there who protect and serve every day, leaving their families and homes, donning their uniforms, and never knowing if they will make it home that night. It is also dedicated to the brave men and women who serve in our military, from the birth of our nation through today and into the future. We dedicate this song by Dave Bray, Last Call. God bless them all. Hello, Skype caller. This is your host, Annie, the radio chick. Who am I speaking to? Skype caller?
Tell her I'm sorry. That I can't be a man that she's gonna tell her I'll be waiting where the winter meets the fall. This is my last call. Tell my children that I love them. Oh yeah, the daddy always loved them so. Tell them to hold the mother's side and to never let it go. Tell them I'll always be watching, looking over them through it all. This is my last call.
keeping with the traditions of the great American Southwest, when heroes were needed, they appeared. People who would mete out truth and justice and defend the weak. People like Vito and Al, Kel, Paul, Annie, LaShonda and Bill, Gotti and Dee, Chuck, David, Kath, Foster and Mike. The modern-day heroes of the Internet airwaves and the hosts of the magnificent 7 days of programming you can listen to each week right here on AmericanPatriotRadio.com.
Hi, this is Annie Ubelis, the radio chick of Southern Sense Talk Radio. I'm inviting you to join me and my guests to listen to us on Southern Sense Talk Radio. You'll find us informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. But you'll never be bored. You'll never know where we'll go, but you'll love the journey. You can join us every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Southern Sense, and that is Southern with a dash in the middle, southern-sense.com.
All right, and we're back. You're here listening to Southern Sense here on Blog Talk Radio, American Patriot Radio, SHR Media, High Plains Daily News, Kinetic Hi-Fi, The Fix FM out of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm your hostess with the mostest, the radio chick, along with my co-host, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Curtis, are we ready to bring on our guest? He is sitting there patiently in the studio. Are we ready to rock and roll and get the show rolling?
Most
Curtis?
definitely. Let's rock and roll now.
All right, we want to welcome aboard author and journalist Jack Engelhard. Good afternoon, Jack. How are you today?
Fine, Annie. How are you?
A little tongue-tied today. I think I got my set of teeth in backwards, so if I start stuttering, just forgive me.
Oh, no. No, I'm here for you.
Thanks. You know, people don't...
I'll do whatever.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. People don't really know you, except for, some of the things that you've done. And I was very surprised that you were the author of that blockbuster movie, Indecent Proposal, with, what the heck was his name? Demi Moore and, what was that guy's name? Oh, Robert Redford.
Well, I wrote the novel. Yes, I wrote the novel, Annie, Indecent Proposal, and it was at the time, I wrote it back in 1988, 89 when it was published, and it still is one of the most talked about novels around the world, and then 3 years after I wrote it, Paramount Pictures picked it up and made an equally blockbuster movie with Robert Redford and Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson. Mm-hmm.
Right, and now it's in 22 different languages it's being published?
Yeah, well, obviously, in the United States, it's all over Amazon, on paperback, hardcover, Kindle. Yeah, it's been translated all over the world in many different languages. I think the latest number is about 25, close to 30. So the beat goes on for Indecent Proposal.
Well, that's not the only one that's going to be written into a movie. Am I correct in saying that you're right now in negotiations for The Days of the Bitter End, another book of yours to be made into a movie?
Yes, that's right. Oh, gee, you've been doing your research on me, haven't you? Been looking into me. Yeah, Days of the Bitter End is about the 1960s, actually, at the very day that JFK was assassinated and what the world was like immediately afterward and a little bit before that. So, we are in negotiations, but we're actually even in negotiations for the novel you're promoting, but it's still very early for News Anchor Sweetheart, which just came out.
It's a really good book, and if anyone has not read your stuff, they should, because it's fast-paced. It's I wouldn't call it an easy read. It's a good read. It's an exciting read. And when I turned the last page of the book that is now out, the News Anchor Sweetheart, I got to that last page and I said, "You dirty dog." The ending just hit me. I'm not going to give the ending away, so people have to actually download or purchase the book. But you have it where you used, I can tell part of what the character, the main guy in the book, is based upon you, and the other character in the book is based upon a former Fox darling and now pariah, Megyn Kelly.
Isn't that interesting? Well, yeah, News Anchor Sweetheart, I got to tell you, that book was so easy for me to write. It was like a dream. Am I allowed to mention real names?
Mm-hmm. I told you, we're politically incorrect here.
Oh, that's super. Because News Anchor Sweetheart is politically incorrect, as are all my books, frankly. I was hooked on Fox News when it first came on board, and I've been a novelist all my life, but at the same time also journalism. And I was fascinated by Fox News because the landscape was dominated by nothing but liberal press, which it still is today, except for Fox News. So about 12 years ago, Murdoch said to somebody named Roger Ailes, build me a new network. And it was quite a job that Roger Ailes did. He did build a network from the ground up into a towering achievement where it dominates at least cable news. And what he did, what I found fascinating, is that we know the other stuff that he's done, which we won't go into here, but he's got to be given some credit for what he did do, which is he celebrated women, and he turned Fox News into the first network that actually had women who dominated both the news, the review, and the commentary sections. He was the first tycoon to discover women, instead of dull white males, as I say in News Anchor Sweetheart. And so that kicked off my thought that there's a novel here. And then along came Megyn Kelly, and I began watching her when she was in the morning, and then the afternoon. I said, there's something going on with this lady. And then she got her full hour. Was it 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, Annie? Do you remember?
Oh, I believe, no, 8 o'clock is O'Reilly. So she came in after.
All right, so 9 o'clock.
Right.
Right, and I saw a lady here really going places very fast. She was really going to go very fast, very far, and she did. And I said, somewhere here is a novel. I'm going to write about it someday. And then one morning I said to myself, why not today? And the novel just kept writing itself. And frankly, without being too arrogant about it, I foresaw many things happening, including the fact that she was going to move on. Fox News was going to be too small for her. She wanted something bigger. But I also saw a woman who, a star is born, but a star may crash as well. And you brought something up here, which is toward the end of the novel. See, in writing it, the fascinating part was Megyn Kelly herself, and I'm not sure I fictionalized her. I'm allowed to do that as a novelist, so it's not point by point her own book, it's my book. But when the novel really took off on me was when I discovered what was going to happen to her husband. And as you know, in real life, he's kind of a struggling character, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In real life. So I wondered, now what happens in a marriage like that, where you have the one half, in this case the woman, who is just flying off the handle. She's so big, she's the number one TV star as far as news in the nation, married to somebody who's a nice guy, but not quite making it. So he has to do the dishes. Well, how does a marriage like that survive? And I couldn't figure it out until I got to the middle of the novel. And once I found out it hit me like a thunderbolt. I said, this is it. And I couldn't stop writing. It just, as I say, the novel wrote itself, and I wrote like a dream. And I regretted getting it published because I wanted to go on writing it. I just fell in love with the writing of it. But at some point you got to pack it in.
Well, the way you leave it now, you can easily do a sequel to it. Matter of fact, I'm surprised people aren't clamoring you to do a sequel to it, to find out, what happens now.
Yeah, I had a phone call from a wonderful writer called Kenneth Lewinsky, who wrote a tremendous biography of J.D. Salinger, and he phoned to say, how did you know? Because a lot of the book of News Anchor Sweetheart, there's a lot of prophecy in there, a lot of prophetic stuff, which I began writing it before the news exploded about Roger Ailes, and a lot of it was predicted in the novel. But he said at the ending, he said, I gave it to a bunch of my friends, and we all came up with different versions of what really is going to happen. And he said, it took a lot of courage to end a novel where the reader has to decide what's going to happen. And that's why I like it.
Because when I was reading the book, I'm thinking about the people that are in Fox News, and her antagonist, the other anchor over there, that just keeps on sticking the knife in her back. Please tell me that's Bill O'Reilly.
Do I have to? You mean the fictitious character? Actually, I have several characters who are out to get her. See, I happen to know what really goes on behind the scenes. And I began imagining all kind of stuff happening behind the scenes. And I put that in the novel. And yes, one of the backstabbers would be the name you mentioned. I fictionalize him, but you're pretty much on target there, Annie.
It gives me all the more
fun.
reason. It gives me all the more reason that when he's on the TV to switch the channel.
Well, a lot of things are happening there that are disturbing. There was a point when Fox News was the only place to go, and it was such a refreshing alternative to what we were getting. CNN, all that anti-Americanism, all that anti-Israelism, all the anger they have in there. They don't like this. I mean, they're no different from any of the other three major channels, in some ways worse. And to have come upon Fox News, which was, at the very least, giving you both sides of a story, and you might say leaning rightward, which was, wow, where's this been? We could have used that for all these past 50 years, for crying out loud. And now I'm beginning to see a bit of a reversal. You're beginning to see characters coming on who are no different from the kind that you're seeing on CNN. So I'm thinking, well, something's going on here, and I'm hearing a lot of complaints about it, and I may be one of those. Still, at the very moment, Fox News is the only choice. There's nowhere else to go. But I would say to the sons of Mr. Murdoch, please be careful. You're causing us to lose the network that we love.
Well, this is true, because I do see the shift. You saw it with Gretchen Carlson when she left and goes to another liberal station. And Megyn Kelly, you sometimes question where her politics are from, because if I remember correctly, both of her parents actually were liberals. So you wonder whether or not she just acted out the politics of Fox News at the time, and what is she going to do now? Because wasn't she also involved in this women's march or this progressive thing that she went on stage with? So your question, where's she really at?
That was a while back. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Forgive me. Go ahead, please.
No, as you said, just wondering where her heart really is.
Well, I think, and again, I explored. In some ways, News Anchor Sweetheart is a case study of a star is born. And so I use a lot of imagination. You'd be surprised how many times what you imagine is more accurate than the actual facts of the matter. And by imagining, because I began writing the novel about 3 or 4 months before all that exploded, her leaving and all the accusations against Roger Ailes, but I never found her to be particularly political. I don't think she's either very right or very left. I think she wants to be the next, what's her name, Oprah. She doesn't want to be in politics all that much. But I found her to be... First, see, what Roger Ailes did was he brought glamour to the news. It's something that never occurred to any of the other tycoons who ran the other networks. But Roger Ailes said, news can also be glamorous and sexy. And that's what got him the ratings, plus the fact that the women he hired are all very, very smart. And I think Megyn Kelly is among the smartest. She was very quick, whether it was somebody on the right going too far right, or somebody going too left. We forget that after she took on Trump, that's where my novel, to be honest, where it really took off, when she had that crossover with candidate Trump. You remember that, of course.
Oh, yes.
Obviously. Yeah, and she's made permanent enemies ever since then, right? And I mentioned that in News Anchor Sweetheart. And it's funny, whenever I mention News Anchor Sweetheart, people who hate her are mostly women. Can you explain that to me? Can you explain that to me, Annie?
I have no
I got a
idea
question
because
for you,
I
Bill.
couldn't stand her before she did that because I'm a big Fox News watcher. You know, it's on most of the time in the living room. But I saw some of the interviews she was doing, some of the stances she was taking, some of the questions she was asking. I had to do a double take and goes, that is not coming from the mouth of a conservative. So it was before she even started the attack on Trump, which I expected her to do exactly that.
Yeah, that was a bit rash. That was a little bit. But you know, I've seen her take on the left very harshly too. So I can't say she's one-dimensional. I was speaking about one-dimensional. I mean, yeah, we can talk about that later. Talking about, you know, right now I've been watching that news conference with what's his name, and it brings up other stars that I mentioned. I don't know if it's a news anchor sweetheart, but you know, these liberals are becoming such one-dimensional individuals that when I think of Meryl Streep, for example, I don't think of her as an actress anymore. To me, she is just a wild-eyed liberal, and that's a shame. And I'm not happy about that because there are many stars who lose their the quality of that they brought to our senses through the movies or through books. And by making some kind of crazy, wild accusations against Trump, well, they announce themselves like, I'm no. The question I ask is, besides being a liberal, are you anything else? Are you a daughter, a son? Are you a father or mother? Or is being liberal all you are? Because that's what, when they go crazy like that, that's how we begin to define them. At least I do. Now, back to Megyn Kelly. Yeah, I think she's bigger than that. But I think that she got too big. Remember the expression? I'm not sure people know it today. She got too big for her britches.
Oh, yes.
And she felt the Fox News is too small for me. Now, in the novel, I can give this part out. She wanted to go to Marjorie Carmen, my stand-in for her in the novel. As I say, let's remember, my book is still fiction. She wanted to go to BBC. And she uses all kind of trickery, this and that, and you know, funny things happen, as you yourself read. But instead, we know she's going to the other station, which she's causing already a lot of animosity.
Mm-hmm.
So people, I mean, she might find herself in no man's land. The network she left, she's caused a lot of resentment because nobody asked her to go after Roger Ailes like that. I mean, there was a limit to that too. And the network she's going to now, people are getting shuffled around to make room for her. Well, that ain't going to cause no friends.
No, it won't. No, it won't at all. And Curtis, this is my co-host, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Go ahead, Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
Hi, how you doing? Besides butting heads with Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump, I believe Megyn Kelly had some issues with Sean Hannity. Do you think this is because she might have been a feminist and just doesn't get along with powerful men?
I actually don't think so. I think certainly it doesn't mean you're wrong. I mean, there are many aspects to this. So, does she not get along with strong men? That's very possible. Yeah, I like your take on that. But what I really believe is she doesn't consider Sean Hannity, though I think he's great. He was on the right side of history from day one, as am I, and as are you guys. We're on Trump's bandwagon, and I'm sorry if I'm giving myself away here. You know, but I mean, frankly, what's the alternative? But I think she thought that Hannity was too favorable to Trump, and she likes to think that she can swing both ways, that she wants the room to be able to attack both left and right. See, I'm not like that. I'm not down on her. And you read News Sweetheart, so you know that I don't know if I took any firm position. I kind of let it fly.
Mm-hmm.
There are some pages where, as you say, and I love the headline that you give it, Sweetheart or Witch. I don't know. I'll let the reader figure that out. But you know, I do find that women don't like her.
Now, for me, she was hard to take. You know, what's the other one that recently left? The attorney. Almost all of them are attorneys. The one that was.
Yeah, they are.
Greta
Van Susteren. Right. I liked her.
Yeah.
I mean, she was down to the chase, to the facts, and get to the heart of it, and then move on. And that I like. But Megyn Kelly, I just could never quite figure out, and just never really took to her.
Okay, here's my interpretation, which, as you are pointing out, appears in the novel News Anchor Sweetheart, which is I think she considers herself a star. She thinks she's a movie star. You say that's the problem. She doesn't think she is a Republican or a Democratic journalist. She thinks she's a big movie star, and you could tell. Now, bringing something up which I got to pass on to you. I was watching her every day, and I would say to my wife, "Dad, what is she wearing today that is telling you something?"
Oh Lord, yes. Oh Lord, yes.
She's not dressed like a conservative, and I mean lowercase conservative journalist. She's making a statement that I am a star. I'm Hollywood. What am I doing here? I should be having my own program all the way and have, I'm a diva. Now, but as I say all that, I don't want to put her down. I don't dislike her. In fact, she fascinates me. How about that? She is a product. She is the finishing moment right now of as you're bringing out of the feminist movement. She is the exemplar of where feminism has really reached us at this moment.
Well, you can say she's
Pygmalion's, but there it is.
She's Pygmalion's Galatia, is basically what it is.
Okay.
To put an analogy.
Well, the thing is, for someone of her generation, her type, feminism, she's not really a feminist because feminism has come with such ease to her. The pulling has been done. The Gloria Steinems have already done the hard work. For what, better or worse, by the way. Let's not get into that. So the Megyn Kellys don't have to do the fighting anymore. They'll say otherwise. I mean, there's always more bridges to cross and all that. But comparatively, she's had it easy, but she really takes the most of it. I think she's maybe, and as you say it in the novel, News Anchor Sweetheart, I think maybe she's pushed it a button too far.
Oh, that's true. As a woman growing up in the 60s and entering the business market in the 70s and the 80s, living under Jimmy Carter's bad stuff and praising when Ronald Reagan was finally elected, I had to push. I had to fight for everything I did. I didn't have the handout, the free college. I had to work 2 jobs while I went to school full time. Everything I did, I fought and clawed for, including, bringing the radio show up to the quality it is today. But I never did it by stepping on people. And for some reason, I think maybe that's why a lot of women don't like her, because they feel she stepped on too many people. And if you want to succeed, truly, truly succeed, you've got to do it. Yes, I want equality. Yes, I want to get paid the value that I feel I am worth. But I'm not going to do it on the backs of others. If I am going up, I'm bringing people with me because they're only going to help me, not hurt me. And I think maybe that's what we don't like.
Well, isn't there also another aspect where the attitude is, who do you think you are? Why do you think you're better than I am? Is there an element of just scratching your eyes out type thing? Why you and not me?
Well, you may be looking at that, but we'll look at where it's coming from. You will always find that attitude on the left. If you look at a real true conservative, if I'm going up, I'm going to take you with me because you're going to help me and I'm going to help you. And that is a conservative value. Right. So if I see someone backstabbing, I'm saying that is not a conservative, that is a progressive. Just stand clear here, because if I end up getting in with this with you, I will come with the dagger for your heart. I don't want you near me. So I think that's what it is.
Oh, thank you. So you must have read News Anchor Sweetheart with a very interesting, fascinating conservative point of view.
Well, I don't think I've got a liberal gene in my body. I think I was born this way. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Speaking of which, well, I'm glad you brought that up. I was watching a few moments ago the latest butchering job against Sean Spicer, and the thought that came to my mind is it must be tough being the only Republican in the room.
I would say the tough being the only smart one in the room.
Yeah, and only smart one, the only Republican in the room, because you're facing 50 Democrats who were asleep. These liberal reporters never asked Obama or his spokesman, what was his name, the guy who lied for him every day, never asked one difficult question. They were asleep for 8 years, and now watch them come alive. They are trying to nitpick our guy, Trump, every chance they can, every word. They weigh it and they smack it to the ground. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I do, but I did not know we had such a liberal underbelly in this country that kind of like you open up, you kick some dirt and you find a billion ants ready to crawl out. I didn't know there was this much anger or hatred. You want to talk about that for a second? Because it still relates to Megyn Kelly, actually.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I was catching bits of that before getting ready for the show. And for those that are not aware, Lieutenant General Flynn tendered his resignation. Trump asked him for it. As I understand the situation, there was an internal investigation. It went to the attorneys, Trump's attorneys, and they weighed it and said he did not do anything illegal. If you have a question of loyalty, then we suggest that you then ask him for his resignation. What he did was, in the transition, he was acting as National Security Advisor without officially being in that position. So that's where they question. They questioned whether or not, he was loyal to Trump. Was he truthful to Trump and Pence when he said, this is the conversation I had, and he omitted, whether by accident or intent? We don't know. We can't say. So Flynn resigned, and now the media is having a rabid feast on poor Sean Spicer in the press briefing. They're asking him, if you notice, the same exact questions over and over again. Hey, it's been answered, move on. And they're rabid, actually. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for explaining the situation to me. I tune out. This is so boring to me because I know what's going to happen. You just said what's going to happen. Every day they're going to come at him. They're going to ask 40 different ways trying to trip him up. It's the same trick that Chuck Todd uses on CBS. He will ask, he grabs a hold of, what's her name, Annie Conway, and will put her against the wall and smack her around and say over and over again, you're not answering the question. That's his trick. It's really frightening. I think I mentioned a moment ago about Meryl Streep, about how people are losing their personalities. The things we respected them for, when they become so political, it goes for Madonna as well. I've never seen such wildness, such craziness from any segment of the American population as I see at this very moment. They can't relax, these people. They can't figure out what happened to them. Their girl lost. They also lost their boy toy, Obama. They want him back. They can do everything they can to undo what was done. Some of the language, it's not just a conversation. I'm just watching, you just click on anything on the internet. You have Rob Reiner, also an actor who's trying to make a comeback and doing it by saying, hey, I'm a liberal, because what you got now is both the extremists on the East Coast talking to the extremists on the West Coast. They're not talking to anybody else. They're not talking to you and not talking to me. They're talking to each other, and they're all trying to outdo each other and say, look, I can be more hateful than you are. So we have, therefore, Rob Reiner saying, I'm reading this, can't let the Trump cancer spread. Can you believe that? Hey, Meathead.
What is this?
Meathead.
Exactly. You remember that.
Oh, my dad and I used to sit watching it.
Watch Meathead, and he still is Meathead. Now, the thing that really troubles me, Annie, is Chuck Schumer, the leading Democrat in the Senate. He's quoted as saying he loves the energy on the streets. Now, I'm a writer, so each word counts, right? This came a few days after the riots in Berkeley. Now, what does he mean by the energy on the streets? Why the streets? He means, that's my interpretation, it may be incorrect, he's saying, signaling, get out there and riot. Because you've never seen liberals march peacefully. It's always getting cars overturned and windows getting broken, people screaming and blocking traffic. And I believe, unfortunately, that a leading politician, a Democrat, is calling for that.
You know, it's funny because there was a demonstration, I believe it was yesterday, and my guys, God bless them, I don't know if you're aware, I'm retired NYPD. I walked away from the corporate world to protect and serve. And NYPD, when they started their march, they shut them down so fast. It says, you are not blocking the city of New York. You're not going to do what you've done in Ferguson. You're not going to do what you did in Baltimore. We're not letting you do what you did in Berkeley. And NYPD stepped in and said, none of this. So people, law enforcement now, with the new Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, in there, is finally saying we can now do our job. And, you know, I think the biggest problem with the left, and I hope you agree with me, for 8 years they had the entire playing field. And now all of a sudden with Trump in there,
wait a minute,
and with conservatives, they got their toys taken away and they're throwing tantrums.
Exactly right. Of course I agree with you. Number one, they still run our culture, Annie. It's not over yet. Trump has not yet had a chance. Look, give the guy, I mean, I love these people coming on the air saying, look, he's already been in office for a month, and how come he hasn't built the wall yet? How come he hasn't reduced taxes yet? It's hysterical. I mean, it's crazy funny because these are people, the guy doesn't know, he hasn't had a chance to sit down yet in the White House. And people are already making these demands and saying, oh, he hasn't done this or that. But as of this very moment, the culture still belongs to the left. Our side hasn't had a chance to show what it can do yet, because right now the media is still 98% liberal. The television shows, Hollywood, everybody. So it's going to be a while until Trump has a chance to say, hey, we're fighting back a little bit here. As far as NYPD, first of all, God bless you, and I happen to be a member of the law enforcement family. I won't tell you the details, but I'm a very close member of law enforcement. I'm part of the family. I'm part of your family, Annie.
Thank you. Thank you. We're all oath keepers. You know, talking about the liberal controlling our society and the fabric of it, there was a question in the chat room from Moving asking what your take is on Pizzagate as well as Common Core in our schools. And I know that there's movements to get Common Core out, and here in the state of South Carolina, there were certain legislations that were passed to narrowly define what areas Common Core will still be in, but they started to remove certain segments from the school system. Do you see Common Core ever leaving our school system, and do you think there's anything to this Pizzagate?
No, I don't. But as far as Common Core, I think, again, we're going back to only 1 month in office. I think I think you can tell me this. Hasn't Trump mentioned it?
I'm trying to remember. He did talk about. I think he did with Betsy DeVos now as the Secretary of Education.
Exactly.
She's talking about choice and vouchers, and we were talking.
Exactly. So I'm very encouraged.
Yeah.
I'm very encouraged about this coming through. But again, back to answer the question, I think everything has to be. You have to give the man a year to really see results. To really begin to say, this has happened and that has happened. He has made a lot of promises, and he began filling them the first minute he got into office. Even before he got in, people already began moving their companies back into the United States. Where is that story on the major channels? You don't see them at all. They're going to make sure that's why I say the culture still belongs to the left. It's going to be a while until the rest of us have a chance. He'll get no credit anywhere. And I, by the way, can no longer watch, and I haven't for years, but unless I really have to write a story. I write for Arad Shavar, Israel National News, which is one of the greatest websites of the world. They write about everything over there. They cover the news, Israeli American everywhere, and they're very conservative, obviously. So if you want to read my columns, please go to IsraelNationalNews.com. It took a long time to get this kind of left-wing system in operation. More than 10 years, more than Obama. We'll go back before that. Fortunately, the silent America, remember, you go back with me, Annie, there used to be something called the silent majority. We don't hear about that anymore, but that's who put Trump in office, the silent majority. We're going to be heard from, but it's not going to be that quickly. All you got to do is watch, again, the Sean Spicer interview. And getting back to Megyn Kelly, I think another reason I fell in love with her as a character in a novel, I call her Marjorie Carmen, by the way, in the novel, she represents so much of where America is today as far as feminism, as far as America is. Now, I'm going to pick up on you and the question as to whether she's a feminist in the ardent way, in the very nasty kind of way. We'll find out more about that once September comes along. And you remember in the novel, Newsactor Sweetheart, I have her career really getting on, well, I'm not going to give too much away, as you didn't, on shaky ground. And what is it they say? Revenge isn't always sweet.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I had another question on the top of my mind. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Tomorrow, Trump is sitting down with Bibi Netanyahu. And,
right.
I want people to go to your website and read your bio and look at your books, because you've got a very interesting family history and with definite ties to Israel and what's going on there.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen with Netanyahu? Because the news reports I was reading, there's a large segment of the Jewish population that's nervous, and I don't understand why. I just don't understand, if you say that you're Jewish, why aren't you 100% behind supporting Israel? I just don't understand that.
Well,
what's their fear?
Well, first of all, my website is jackengelhard.com, so that's simple. Yeah, and all my columns appear on, well, you can go to my website, yeah. And no, they don't appear there. Anyway, Andy, this is a long topic. I'm very pro-Israel. First of all, you can't not be. If you're a patriotic American, you also stand with Israel, because we share the same values. We both need one another. Israel is the only strong, reliable ally we have in the entire world, the entire Middle East, for sure. If you're asking why some Jewish people do not support Israel, my answer to you is I don't know. It's something I've been writing about because I've been mystified by it, angered about it. These are people who have no idea who they are. They have no idea of the history of their own people. They are, I got to be careful here what I say. There's no choice. I mean, I equate the two. If you're going to love America, if you're going to be a patriotic American, then for the safety of America, you have to pray for the safety of Israel. Because it is a hot spot. Israel is a terrible neighborhood. It's got Iran that has nothing better to do, but we got to kill the Jews. I can't figure that out, and the world is silent about that. We have the Europeans who keep saying to the Jews, well, we're going to try to put you into ghettos again, so it'll be easier for us to kill you. And then you have American Jews who've, well, here again, as I said, I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to say anything smutty here, but I'm very angry about some leftist Jews and where the hell do they think they're going with this.
Well, I have for Chuck Schumer a Yiddish word I like to put before the Schumer part of it, and I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, the word I like to use when I describe Chuck Schumer. It kind of rhymes with Chuck. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, sure. But I got another one that rhymes with glutz. I mean, he's as I said, Chuck Schumer, making buddies with Ellison. This guy Ellison. Come on, how ridiculous can you get? How down in the gutter do you go to prove that you're a good liberal? there's no end to it. There's no bottom to this, to the hysteria, to how far it's going. Now, Andy, you remember, along with me, that the Democrats for many years were the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that in those days, 90% of Democrats were on the side of Israel. Today, it's 30%. Israel was booed in the 2014, whatever year it was, convention. Booed. Today, it's the Republicans who are 85% pro-Israel. I can't figure out what happened. Something strange happened. Well, what happened was the left took over, and these are the fruits of it. These are the nasty results of it all. And the irony is that we Jews, are supposed to be very smart. We gave the world Einstein, the cure for polio, 1,000, and a cure for other diseases, but political, not very bright.
It's. I always found it amazing, because I saw the dynamics in Brooklyn between the Jewish community and the Democratic Party, and I kept on scratching my head. Why are you electing into office people that want to destroy your very society and your very religion? My grandmother once told me, she goes, Anuch, there are no difference between an Italian and a Jew. The only difference be we put the tomato in our chicken and soup. And that is how I view it.
My family, we also have the same situation. We have a strong Italian segment in our family. And you're right. When you walk into a room, a lot of people are laughing and screaming at time of their lives. It's either a Jewish table or an Italian table. Absolutely. And I don't get it, Andy. People ask me, whenever I write, after I write a column or people after reading one of my books, they say, "Can you explain to me anti-Semitism?" And I say, look, I try and I do the best I can. Can you explain to me why there's so many self-hating Jews? And I say, I don't know. How many there are, I don't know either. But it does surprise me. My argument is they think they're still voting for FDR. They think he's still in office. Because how you could vote for Obama, who openly talked about and we knew who he was from day one. Mm-hmm. He was no friend of either America or Israel.
Exactly.
And it didn't stop people from voting for him. It's still, I guess, as you go back to my original concept, when you're a liberal, and are you anything else? And I maintain, no, you're not. You're just a liberal. I've lost contact with the three dimensions that make you who you are. I think of you only as one thing. You are part of the mob. And once you're a part of the mob, you don't fascinate me anymore. You don't interest me anymore. You're one-dimensional, whether you're Madonna, Meryl Streep, or Chuck Schumer, or 1,000 others. I don't see you as a fellow human being. I hate to put it quite like that. I see you as a liberal, and you're nothing else.
Well, I guess I'm the next character in your book. I'm multifaceted. Go ahead, Curtis.
I was going to say, just like Muslims make a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in a lifetime, I think Jews should try to get over to, the state of Israel and see what it's like, and see what it's like to live constantly under fear of being attacked. And I think they have a better appreciation for the situation over there. I'm talking about American Jews and Hebrews.
Totally correct. You're totally correct. All the things they've been taught, all the garbage about... I wrote a column just the other day about Rambam Hospital. Are we still on the air?
Yes.
Okay, when I served for a while on a Navy base, I was injured. I was wounded, and right next door is one of the world's great hospitals, Rambam Hospital, Rambam, named after one of our greatest rabbis. And I had to be carried in there. And this is now the heart of Israel in Haifa, and the man in the next bed was an Arab. And I thought that was a little unusual. And when I make a long story short, I found out that half the patients are Arabs. Nearly half the doctors and nurses are Arabs. And what's this about an apartheid state? That's the garbage that people keep spewing, that all the newspapers, Israel, they go marching. You see all the marches. There is no, it's the one country in the entire Middle East, as Curtis is mentioning, where if you want to know the truth and quit believing the garbage you're being told on the air or reading in the papers, you have to go see for yourself. There is not a single sign that says Jews only anywhere. No beaches, no restaurants, no hospitals. And there was one controversy in Israel because during the most recent Gaza war, the Jewish doctors throughout all the hospitals in Israel were treating everybody who ever came in first. In other words, if a Israeli paratrooper, soldier for the IDF was wounded, but an Arab terrorist was more seriously wounded, they sought to work on the on the terrorist first. And that caused a lot of heartbreak in Israel. How dare you do this? But they said, according to our medical standards, this is what we do. The world doesn't know that.
No, they don't. And they keep on saying the state of Palestine. There was never, ever, ever a state of Palestine. There was never a Palestinian people. This is something just made up to help destroy Israel.
Thank you.
And everyone keeps on saying there's got to be a two-state solution. I mean, John Kerry.
Solution, yeah.
Oh my God, John Kerry was saying that you can either be a Jewish state or a democratic state, and you can't be both. If it wasn't for the fact that my TV cost so much, I would have thrown a shoe at the school.
Yeah, I know. I know. What a fool! But that man is just so. I don't know whether he was evil or stupid or both. Yeah, I know. This resolution 2334 in the United Nations, the people who voted for don't know. They thought they're destroying Israel, which is what the intention of it was, but they're also destroying Christianity. Whatever Christian nation voted for that was because if you deny the Jewish this means you deny King David, and if you deny King David, you deny Jesus, because Jesus' entire backstory starts with King David, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right,
so once you deny that, pardon me?
And I was just going to say, my next guest is in on the line, so I want to thank you for joining us. I've got to have you back because you are just so fascinating, and I cannot just give you 45 minutes. I've got to give you more time the next time. It has been an absolute pleasure. I'm telling everyone to go to your website, jackengelhard.com. There's a link on the show page. The majority of people that listen to the show listen to the podcast later on in archives. They just need to click on it, and they can get your books on Kindle. They can go to Amazon and get your books. Check out your news column. Jack, you're a blessing and a breath of fresh air.
Thank you so much. Loved it.
No, it's my pleasure. And I'll speak with you to get you back on the show soon.
All righty. See you later.
Thank you so much. Check out his website, jackengelhard.com. And we got our next guest in on the line. Sometimes I wonder whether he still loves me or not, because it's always so elusive and hard to get him to pay attention to me. But I hope he's paying attention today. Rodney Lee Conover.
Hey, how are you, Annie?
I'm fine. I mean, what a pleasure our previous guest was. I'm glad you heard a little bit of it.
I wish Jack was still on the line because I had a story to tell him. Jack wrote, I'm sure you mentioned, Jack wrote the book which became the movie Indecent Proposal. The movie, I'm sure you talked about it. It was,
absolutely.
Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore. And Robert Redford offers, the gist of the story is Robert Redford offers Woody Harrelson, he offers Demi Moore $1 million to sleep with him. So, I went to see this movie with my mom, just by we went to see a movie. She likes, movies. We had to see Indecent Proposal. We didn't know what it was about. And, after the movie, I couldn't help it. I said to my mom, well, gee, Mom, would you sleep with Robert Redford for $1 million? She said, well, that's a lot of money, but I'd come up with it somehow.
Oh, that's cute. That is cute. Oh, man. Rodney, I'm glad that you're on with us today because they had the Grammy Awards just a little while ago. And there was a specific singer who turns out to be a Trump supporter that made a splash. And she was someone that I would say 95% of America had never heard of. And she's going from obscurity to #1 in iTunes today. We're talking about Joy Villa. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Yes, I'm very familiar with her.
Do you know her, or do you know?
She wore a big. Oh no! I'm very, very familiar with Joy Villa. She didn't just make a political statement. She wore this huge, big, blue, "Make America Great Again" gown. It was awesome. And then she spun around where it says Trump, and of course, out come the death threats. And, it was really brilliant on her part because, she's really great, but let's be honest, she's a nobody before this happened. And now she's famous. I mean, it's just, she's off the hook. Her sales are crazy, and of course, she's beautiful. And she's beautiful in a way, Annie, that all women should aspire to. I mean, she's not one of these skinny, ugly Hollywood actresses that, I just can't stand. She's really got this beautiful Latin-style body, and she's a real woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's just everything about her is just fantastic. She's a great singer, and as you said, for now, her album is just flying off the shelves at Amazon. Well, digital, but you know what I'm saying. You can't get enough of her. She's just all over the place. And when she turns around now, Latin ladies have a certain attribute, and the chorus from saying exactly what it is, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. And now I'm personally, it's an attribute that I'm all over, and I think J-Lo would be a good example of it. And when she turns and shows off that attribute, her gigantic gown says Trump at the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. And it's just awesome. And she's got, and it shows also excuse my language again, but there's no other way to describe it, but it's this, it's kind of a naked back and kind of a side boob shot, and it's just awesome. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
did she make the most of it? And while Beyonce is getting her butt handed to her, and Adele is making an absolute fool of herself. Adele won 3 Grammys, and she went up there and basically Kanye Wested herself. And then, what was it, Rihanna's sister or was it Beyonce's sister went up there and made a fool of herself and started hating on everybody. I mean, they just made asses of themselves. I mean, they really did. Can't you just win, thank you, and get the hell out of there? But I just couldn't be, I just couldn't have been any more thrilled. The first time I ever paid attention to the Grammys since Kanye jumped up there and made an ass of himself with Taylor Swift. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched any of those awards since I think it was Marlon Brando that went up there and did the huge speech about the Native Americans. And after that, I said, you just ruined it. All you're doing is patting each other on the back. And I'm sorry. I just can't take it. But you know what she did?
He didn't go up there. He didn't go. He sent an Indian.
Yeah, he didn't go up. He had somebody named Cheyenne representing
an
Indian woman.
Right. But what Joyce said was, she says, go big or go home. You can either stand for what you believe in or fall for what you don't. Above all, make a choice for tolerance and love. Agree to disagree. See the person over the politics. Carry yourself with dignity always. And then she everyone's saying she's a hater. She's this, she's that. Oh, my goodness. Death threats. But if there was not a message of reconciliation and love to join the different parts of America together, I don't know what is.
Didn't Lady Gaga's sales go up when she disappointed the left? Lady Gaga, didn't her sales go up?
I don't know.
You know what would be?
Go ahead, Rodney.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome if they find out Joy Villa was an illegal immigrant and Trump had to deport her. That would be hysterical. But I hope that doesn't happen. But still, that'd be funny. But yeah, no, you gotta watch the show. You gotta watch the award shows because it's just hysterical. Well, like the whole what's her name? Who's the actress? Golly, I'm getting old. The actress.
Which one?
Everybody goes crazy over. The actress. There's only one.
Oh, jeez. You got me. You're the one from Hollywood. What's that?
Yeah, I know, but what's her dick? Anyway, she's been the Golden Globes that made an ass of herself. Whoever. Anyway,
you
gotta watch these things because
there's so many.
You gotta watch them in the right state of mind because they're just awesome.
You mean stoned?
You what?
I said, you mean stoned or drunk?
Yeah. But I'm very familiar with the story. I watched all the acceptance speeches. Adele's was the best. Did you see when she did the tribute to George Michael? Now, you had to be on the East Coast because on the West Coast they cut it out because it's tape delay. But on the East Coast, Adele was doing the tribute to George Michael, the pervert that shows up in the bathroom, exposes himself.
Right.
That guy. The heroin-addicted loser who, that dude, they did a big tribute to him. And Adele, she had to start the song over again because she screwed it up. It was hysterical. And she stops in the middle of the song and literally starts cussing out the band. I mean, like a sailor. The F-word, everything. It was a riot. You got to go online and watch it. I mean, everything about the Grammys was just the best. Everybody watched this year. And then, our girl comes out in the Make America Great, outfit. It was the best. It was the best Grammys ever. Anyway, I heard you guys talking about, what else were you guys talking? Something about Kelly. What's her name?
Yeah,
Megan
Kelly.
Yeah,
Megan Kelly.
Yeah, Jack Engelhard.
Is that the subject?
Yeah, because he wrote a new book out called News Anchor Sweetheart, and the character is based upon Megan Kelly. And we were discussing, her assets and her other problems. So it seems that she may not be long for NBC, it seems. So she's one of the most disliked female broadcasters by other women, which is something I didn't know. I thought I was just the only one that hated her.
Well, I got plenty to say about her, in my opinion.
Oh, go ahead. Please do. Let loose. We're not politically correct here.
Well, Megan Kelly will be at NBC for a long, long time because NBC does not admit when they make a mistake. And if you want proof, take a good long look at Katie Couric, okay? Mm-hmm. Megan is Donald Trump's new enemy at NBC. And if anybody has any doubt where Megan Kelly's political leanings are, I got news for you. A conservative, a middle of the road, a moderate, a libertarian, anyone who leans anywhere right of center does not get that job at NBC. I don't care who you are. If you have any scintilla of republicanism, conservatism, libertarianism, any of it, you don't get a deal like that. Do you understand the deal that she got? It's massive. You can look at Megyn Kelly's career. You can watch her on Fox the whole time, and there was always a liberal screaming to get out of that skank. I'm telling you right now. And so now she's free, and she is in the perfect spot to be the lead critic of Donald Trump for a minimum of the next 4 years. And she is so utterly rich. She's a rich skank. And if you don't believe me, Anyone remember Arianna Huffington in the early 90s? Anyone remember the beginning of her career? Now, I ask you, which was the easiest way in the early 90s? Do you, A, battle thousands of practically every female in liberal media and in politics, or do you be the only dog in town in the GOP side? Did I just call her a dog? Was that a dog whistle? No. Will I mention something like every dog has a before the show is over? Okay, shut up. Arianna made it simple, okay? Make a name for yourself, make a ton of dough fooling Republicans, which is really easy. If you don't believe me, Google House Republicans and the Tea Party, and then let your true colors burst out of the Upper East Side scene, okay? Yes, she had to pretend to be in love with a gay guy for a number of years, but he was filthy rich too and politically connected, so okay, boom, there she went. Now, the first chance Arianna Huffington got to go where she was the whole way, she went. And here we are, Huffington Post. Okay, Megyn didn't have to go that route. Why? Because Megyn is uber hot. I know that because dudes everywhere are always telling me that. Now, I don't get it personally. I don't think she's hot. I don't get it. The phony everything. But hey, you know, that's why they make red cars and blue cars, right? To each his own. But if you think flashing your it's for men's magazine is hot and sexy, and every guy reading the fascinating articles, right? Holding up the magazine with one hand. Okay, fine. If you think that's sexy, that's your deal. And I'm not, you know, I'm a live and let live guy. But I don't think that's sexy. But that's how Megyn got into the game. Let's be honest. That's how she got into the game. And she saw an opportunity at Fox, and I got headlines for everybody. Rich and powerful entertainment moguls are attracted to hot women. Headlines! Headlines, everybody. Now, who am I, that guy pointing out that all these, as far as I'm concerned, immature jerks are attracted to women who dress like hookers, okay? Those are hooker uniforms. They are. Let me ask you something. If you saw a crime being committed, and there was a guy with a police uniform standing around, and you ran up to him, and you said, "Hey, man, there's somebody getting mugged right over there." And the guy said, "Hey, I'm not a police. I just got a police uniform on." Wouldn't you go, "Oh, WTF?" I mean, you know what I mean? And yet, women run around with hooker uniforms on. Don't you go, "Hey, there's a hooker"? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm jealous because, you know, a tall, attractive woman like Megyn Kelly would never look at my slobby ass sideways, right? Except for my uber hot girlfriend who was within shouting distance. Hold on, let's see if you heard that.
You know, it's funny because when
louder. My outrageously sexy tall girlfriend. Ew. Okay,
folks, this is live radio. You never know what's going to happen.
I will leave. Okay, she heard me. Hey, she knows quality. Okay, shut up.
No, it's
not only that, Annie. Not only that. I bet Megyn Kelly knows where a few bodies are buried. So who's going to mess with her? Honestly.
No, that's
O'Reilly?
true.
Forget about it.
No, it is the truth.
Google
because
O'Reilly.
Because you mentioned, you know, the outfit
O'Reilly
she wears.
And loofah. Man, I mean, it's just so obvious to me. I don't get it. Google O'Reilly and loofah, and you know what? You know, I'm not saying anything about O'Reilly and Megyn Kelly, but look at me with a straight face. Tell me he wasn't cracking wise ass about her every 10 seconds, and half the time right in front of her. Be honest. Guys are guys, and don't be surprised when she shows up regularly on The Factor, and suddenly they're old pals, swapping big-ass network journalism broadcasting stories. You know, I can see the segment. She's hot and he's hot air, you know. Maybe, hey, how about this for a segment? Maybe Waters will ask her some questions. I'd actually pay to see that. You know what? Somebody rewrite this show and work in on a current affair pun, something like that. I don't know. Thanks in advance. So, and what else did Jack say? Something about Hannity? What was going on there?
We were talking about conservatives, and we were talking about his book, and the characters in his book are based on characters over at Fox News. So we were opining about who was taking the place of each one of his characters in the book, and I got just about all of them right. So Hannity's he's one of the good guys over at Fox, and no matter what Megyn Kelly did, she could not get him unseated because he's just a little bit more powerful than she ever will be. You know, he's got a better audience and a large audience, not just on radio, but on TV too. So as long as Hannity's there, we can see the writing on the wall. But you were mentioning...
I don't know.
You disagree?
She kind of hip him a lot, though. Didn't she?
What's that? I missed that.
Didn't Megyn Kelly kind of hip check Hannity out of his slot?
No.
Did he have a better slot before?
Hannity's always been the 10 o'clock slot. It was Gretchen Carlson that
okay.
Gretchen Carlson was in the slot that Megyn Kelly ended up taking over, which now is Tucker Carlson. All right, but you were mentioning the attire, and one of the things I noticed that, you know, as she got that one slot, she had this attire, and I looked at my husband and said, that is hardly what a conservative businesswoman would wear if you are a conservative individual. You know, everything there just says, oh, just see me for the glamour, and, you know, I'm the hottest thing around, and that's it. So I didn't feel that she was a conservative, or never was. So it's the media bias.
That's not even the proof. That's not even the proof. The proof is, here's the proof. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look this up, because I want to get it right. Hold on a second. I got it somewhere. Okay. She gave up a primetime role at Fox. Okay. She's got now a multi-year deal that includes several roles at NBC. You know, in case she stinks at most of them, they can move her around, take it like it was a good move. She will launch a daytime program as well. You listening, Katie Couric? As well as a Sunday evening news magazine show, and be part of the network's coverage of major political. A multi-million-dollar, multi-year dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, a conservative does not get that deal at NBC. End of story. I don't care who it is. A conservative gets no multi-year anything at NBC. Only a dyed-in-the-wool lefty like Katie Couric gets several deals at several networks, it turns out, no matter how much her ratings suck on titty. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Only a lefty gets that deal at NBC, and Megyn Kelly sat down with NBC and laid it out for him. There's no way Megyn Kelly's a conservative or Republican or right-leaning anything, and the deal is the proof. Not the fact that she used to take her clothes off for a living. Thank you. Good night.
Now, you're the editor of the website JoeForAmerica.com, and I always have fun going there because you always have something a little wacky on there, and you know
a little wacky.
And I always love listening to dumb criminal stuff, stories. And you have on there that I was hysterical laughing over. This guy orders a hit on his wife and 4-year-old daughter, and he does it in a text, but oops, he sent the text to the wrong person.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, you know, we have to report on the important items of the day, Annie. We can't just be, you know, we can't all be all fluff.
No, it can't always be. But go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah. So what else is going on?
Yeah,
well, maybe I should go liberal. You know, I'll go. Hey, and you know what? Talk about fake news. Megyn Kelly just spent how many years at Fox? I don't know. Being accused of, you know, making fake news, and now she is going to be the absolute source. I mean, now she is fake news. So it's awesome. In one paycheck period, she goes from being the accused to being the absolute source. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Curtis, go ahead.
I would love. I can't wait till.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Megyn Kelly kind of reminds me of this character that was in the Rocky IV movie. I don't know if you've seen that, but Rocky went up against a Russian, and this Russian had a wife played by Bridget Nielsen, and I think she later married Sylvester Stallone. But that character kind of reminds me of Megyn Kelly. She was really cold and you know, so Russian, for lack of a better term. And I think that coldness comes across to other people.
Well, you know, she's ambitious. I got no problem with that. But
there's ambition, and then there's stabbing people in the back. You know, like what you have done, you have gone up the ladder, but you've brought people with you, and they support you, and you support them. What she's done is just the opposite. She goes up the ladder, and she's kicked the rungs out from those coming up behind her. You know, there is a conservative who will say, hey, listen, if I'm going to get ahead in this world, I'm going to bring you with me so that we both benefit. Then you have the progressive that says, there's no way that you're going to be as good as me, so I'm the best. That's it. Face it, flounder. I'm the queen bee, and you're just nothing. That's the difference between the two sides. So I don't think you could ever find a liberal bone in your body, Rodney. You just don't have it in you.
Not unless I walked into the wrong nightclub. Thank you. You know, I didn't go up the ladder, and I regret you laughing at that joke. I didn't go up the ladder. I actually ran up the down escalator. That's why it took so long. But I'm going to tell you something else. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
I'm going to announce something on your show.
Go ahead.
This Megyn Kelly is not only a liberal. I want to see if you agree with this. I'm sitting around at a dinner party, one of these non-swanky dinner parties, so you know it was a bunch of Republicans. And it's a who's who of Republicans. And I can drop one name because Andy Breitbart can't get mad at me anymore. Besides, he's too busy rolling around in his grave because of, Breitbart. So the subject comes up about Glenn Beck, who's not in the room. And suddenly we all realize, there's about 7 of us, we all realize that we all have the same opinion of Glenn Beck. And it is this. It's an act. Glenn Beck's an act. He's a total 100% contrived phony. And nobody says it out loud. But after a long discussion, we're all like, wow, everybody believes it. And I think Glenn Beck is about to turn. I think he's about to do his Arianna Huffington moment. I really do. I think he's going to go full-blown anti-Trump and morph into the liberal, which, if you know Glenn Beck, he used to be. Then he cried and became a conservative or something. But Glenn Beck used to be a full-blown left-winger. And I think he saw a Rush Limbaugh light moment, took advantage of it, rode the money train, and now that the blaze is literally blazing on fire, I think he's going to take that other route. I really do. What do you think?
I completely agree with you because I have the Patriot Radio XM in my car, and if he's on, I will switch it. I will switch over to Fox News. I'll switch over to Roadhouse. I'll switch over to the Blues. But if he's on, I will not listen to him. And then I'll wait for Wilkow to come on, and then I says, all right, fine. Andrew Wilkow, all right, I'm fine as long as I got a little Andrew every day. But if he's on there, I turn it off. And I stopped watching him on Fox News before he left there. My husband and I just said, whoa. Some of this stuff he's got is coming way out of left field. And it was obvious back then when he was still on Fox. And if listening just a few times when he was on XM radio, it just confirmed everything I thought. And you're 100% right. He is not a true conservative, and he's another contrived act.
Yeah, and I think he's going to come out really do that.
Matter of fact, Ron in the chat room said he is full-blown anti-Trump. If that is not proof enough, I don't know what is. How can you claim to be a conservative and be completely against Trump? Looking at what he's already done in the first 30 days.
Well, if people want me to not criticize Trump, they're talking to the wrong guy. Because I've got plenty of criticism. Obviously, Trump is a massive better choice than Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you have to say that, but I just said it. But I'm not going to stop criticizing Trump just because he's president and just because I'm conservative. For instance, I hate the fact that he uses executive order. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong when Obama did it. I think it's wrong when Trump did it. I think we should go back to a constitutional way of government. I think that the separation of powers should be fully instituted. And Annie, I absolutely hate it that just because Obama did it, now we get to do it? Just because they did the nuclear option, now we're going to think about doing it? No. Annie, no. Let's go back to the Constitution. What do you think about that?
No, that I agree. But his rolling back of certain regulations and the approval of the pipeline, those are things that don't need an executive order. It just needs him to say, let's do it. He sat down with the shiny pony, as my friend calls him, Trudeau, and he said, you want our trade? Then fine. We've got to find common ground. Let's get the oil flowing. Let's get the jobs. Let's get us energy independent. So that I can agree with him on. But the executive order overreach is something. Yeah, the executive overreach, I agree with you. There has to be better control. You cannot have a unilateral, government. It's not just the executive branch. You've got the judicial and you've got the legislative, and they're supposed to work in equal tandem. Overreach with executive orders, I agree, is just something we've got to take that power away. You can't take the entire power away because is a need for it, but it has to be where it can only be used in a nuclear option type of situation.
And I'll tell you something else. This thing where, we're going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with something else. I agree with half of that. Let's repeal Obamacare. But what do you mean replace it with something else? No. I don't want to replace it with something else. I don't want to replace it with nothing. Repeal Obamacare and let a market-based system kick in. That's what I want. Get the government out of it. What do you think causes all the problems in the first place? Replace it with what? Trump stood up there, and we all heard it, in the Republican primary, one of the first debates, and said, I like the Canadian single payer. And if you don't believe me, Google it. Well, I don't like the Canadian single payer, and guess what? Neither does the Canadians. And the Swedes are rushing back to a market-based system as fast as they can ski. And I don't want it. And if we're going to repeal Obamacare, I'm down with that. I've been fighting for it longer than most. But replace it with what? Annie, has anyone said what we're replacing it with?
Nope, they have not. Matter of fact, when Obamacare, the original legislation came out, I read the House bill and I read the Senate bill, and I wrote about it back in October of 2009, advocating a market-based system. Be able to go across, state lines the same way we do for car insurance and life insurance.
Right.
We already have that in place. Let the insurance companies do their job, and let's get the best price. Get rid of these frivolous lawsuits so you can then lower the cost of medical so the doctors won't have to pay these outrageous premiums for malpractice insurance. There is so much that we can do. I had a caller once calling in from Europe and saying, well, I understand that everyone in America can't get health care. And I says, wait a minute. All you have to do is drive up to the emergency room, and if you have a paper cut, by law, they must take you. So, yes, you automatically have health care, and you can get it for free if you're indigent. It's called Medicaid. we had a system that was working. It needed just to be tweaked. As for like the tort reform, as for crossing over state lines, that little tweet alone, those two things would have made healthcare affordable for everyone. And what about the free clinics that pop up all over the place, or doctors that perform procedures pro bono, or the pharmacy companies that if you can't afford the medication, you give them a call and there's a program where they can get you the medication. You just got to pick up the phone and make that call. Rodney, don't get me started on this because I.
I'll get you started whenever I want to, Annie.
Just remember your girlfriend's listening in.
I'll get you food. I have a new healthcare program that I'm proposing. Annie, would you like to hear it?
What's that?
It's called Walk It Off. You're okay. Walk it off. I love it.
Well, it is.
It's a little bump.
Yeah, it is true. If you are paying out of pocket for that doctor's visit, you're going to be a little bit more judicious with what you're going to the doctor for. There was a time that people took care of themselves instead of waiting for.
Back in my day.
Instead of saying,
Back in my day, Rodney.
So, yeah, hey, listen.
Back in my day. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Back in my day, Rodney, things were better. Back in 19-aught something. No, I'm sorry, Annie. Okay.
Well, you don't need the government to tell you potato chips are bad for you if you're scoffing down 20 bags a day and you're over 600 pounds. Like you said, walk it off. Are you
directing that toward me, Annie? Annie, was that a slam? I'll have you know, I'm down to 5'10".
It's just common sense
You know
things.
what I want to talk about?
Go ahead.
I want to talk about, where are you currently living at? Are you in Southern California?
No. I don't live on the left coast. I live in the heart of conservatism, sunny South Carolina.
That's not the heart of conservatism.
Well, at least in my little corner.
Okay. Well, they've done, just when you thought it could get wacky or something wacky happened, I got to tell you about, you're going to love this. We go back and forth here in California at the grocery store regarding what you put your groceries in when you leave. Versus plastic, that it's paper, and it's paper or plastic, and it's lots of paper, then you got paper with handles, then you got plastic with handles, now there's just paper, then there's plastic. And then now, you know what they've done? Now, it's neither. You can now get neither. They've passed a line where they don't give you paper or plastic. But, because of course, paper comes from trees. And as we all know, trees don't grow back once you cut them down. Everybody knows that. And plastic, which I will get to in a minute, not only causes global warming, which everybody knows is true, but it also, and here's the real bad part, Annie, plastic kills turtles. Now, here's what they do instead, Amy. You go to the grocery store and you load up your grocery cart with items. Now, as you alluded to earlier, I fill up my cart with many items because apparently you think I'm an overweight pig. Yes, I get a lot. All right, there's marshmallows, there's beer, and a number of stuff that I like shove into my face while watching The Walking Dead, which is my favorite show because it reminds me of Bernie Sanders supporters walking around with their hand on. You know why I like The Walking Dead, Annie? It's my favorite show. You want to know why? Not because of the acting. It's not particularly that good. The writing's horrible. It's not really that good of a show. But I get to sit there and I get to fantasize, Annie, about living in that time. I get to fantasize about living in a time where there's actually zombies walking around, where there's no political correctness, where if you don't work, you don't eat. And if you don't try to help, you don't eat. And if you give me any crap, I will whack you with a machete. That's why I like The Walking Dead. Anyway, I got off track a little. Where was I? Oh, yeah, I'm at the grocery store. And I've got my cart, and I get it all in. And you know what they say to you now, Andy? They say, would you like a bag? And I'm like, no, I'm going to put all that crap in my pocket. What do you think? Yes, I'd like a bag. Anyway, they sell you a bag for 10 cents. And you want to know what it's made of? That's it. They sell you a plastic bag, Annie. And the state takes the 10 cents. The state has made the grocery store the tax collector. They sell you a 10-cent bag, Annie. Okay? Now, when this first came to my attention, I think you can imagine my surprise and my ire. All right? Now, this state-turned upholstered men's room have legislated this change for a couple of reasons. This was explained to me by a diaper-pin-wearing millennial college grad lucky enough to land a cashier's job at my local state post. Right? A, it's good for the environment and the everlasting battle against global warming. Oh, I'm sorry, climate change. You know, it's hard to keep up with the ever-changing Chicken Little labels given to the big con game. Normal folks call the weather. B, it saves turtles. She told me it saves turtles, Amy. Do you believe it? Saves turtles.
Oh, man.
A couple of things. And I'm going to go a couple of things, all right? First of all, eliminating free plastic and paper bags and making people pay for state-imposed plastic bags have resulted in the following behavioral changes. You ready?
Go ahead.
Instead of stocking up on a cart full of stuff, people are now making more trips to the grocery store every month and buying less each trip. Did you know that? This results in more fossil fuels being burned, more emissions, more wear and tear on rubber tires, more brake material, more asbestos in the air, more CO2. Ooh, nasty CO2. It's Al Gore time. More destruction of the roads and infrastructure, bridges, and other parts of our stuff that we got to rebuild. Number two, I assume these left-wingers, Annie, generally speaking, believe in evolution. Don't you? Annie, do you believe that? Most of them believe in evolution. And don't you believe they reject our hayseed concept of intelligent design? Don't you believe that? Well, that's fine, because guess what? Plastic bags are an essential fact. That's right. How else does Mother Earth cull the stupid and weak turtles from the herd? How do they do it? For millions of years, turtles have remained stuck in a state of Darwinian inertia until plastic bags and six-pack rings came along to send them on a track to selectively procreate in a positive direction. Is there anything beer can't do, Annie? Honestly. One day, Annie, millions of years from now, we will all serve our intellectually, technologically, and physically superior turtle overlords, thanks to who? Plastic grocery bags and beer. Therefore, with California's dumbass idea on plastic bags, pretty much everything else, they've managed to increase pollution, enlarge California's footprint, piss me off, and harm the poor turtle species in the long run. Be right back.
Oh, man. You know, I love it, too, when I see people going, they bring their own bags into the grocery store. And I look at these bags that these people are using to put their groceries in. And you're right. Number one, they can't purchase as much. If the store provided those bags for free in the past, you've just loaded up your cart, did everything all in one run, and you're not using your car. You're not polluting the environment as much because you're not driving back and forth. But they bring their own bags from home. And then when I look at the bags they bring from home, what are they made of? Synthetic material. Gee, where'd that synthetic material come from? Oh, yeah, petrochemicals. Or they'll have bags and they'll say, oh, well, it's a hemp bag or it's a cotton bag. But they're stamped with these logos. Stamped with logos that are using ink. Ink comes from what? Oh, yeah, that's right, petrochemicals. So no matter what you do.
Well, not only that, have you ever put meat in a bag made of cloth.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, you are talking about some serious bacteria left in there. And what do you do with those bags? You got to wash them. Now, you're not going to wash them with your clothes. That means you got to wash them separately. So, more water, more electricity, more soap goes into the water table. My God, these people are insane, Annie. They don't think it through. But that doesn't matter, Annie, because they don't care about the environment. They don't care. It's a scam. It's all a scam. Everything they say they care about, they don't. It's a front. It's an eminent front. It's the who.
Yeah, it's all about control.
They don't care about homeless. They don't care about children. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about nothing. It's a front because when you're on a logical path, every law they institute makes things worse. Am I right?
Exactly. The more you try to control, the more you screw things up. That's what it's all about. Right. It's about control.
Do you know the story about how capitalism saved the whales? Do you know that story?
No, tell me.
Okay, well, the whales. We used to light and heat this country with whale oil back in the whaling days. You know, guys would go out and hunt whales. Man, I'd have been good at that, wouldn't I? Out there hunting them whales. That's me. I'm a whaling guy. I would have loved that. Anyway, we were hunting these damn whales, and people were burning that whaling oil, and they were heating their homes, and lighting their streets with it. And guess what? Those whales were going to be extinct. There was no doubt about it. We were putting the whales out of business. And Rockefeller put a bunch of money. He what do you call it? He formed a corporation. He raised a ton of cash, and he developed kerosene. And without capitalism, and of course kerosene put the whalers out of business. And without kerosene, without capitalism, there would be no whale. There would be no whales. Capitalism saved the whales, not PETA, not the whaling. Who are those guys go out with the ships, and they stop the Japanese whalers from making sushi?
Oh, Greenpeace.
Whoever those guys are.
Greenpeace,
not Greenpeace. Rockefeller saved the whales. And that's your point. Your point is leave it alone, and the market will take care of everything. And it's pitiful that story isn't retold to kids in grade school, because it's the truth. Kerosene saved the whales, and kerosene was made possible, and the only way it would have been made possible was with a corporation, because without a corporation, the necessary funds could not have been raised to develop it, to research it, to refine the process, and to make enough of it so people could afford it. But you know what? Them whaling dudes, man, they were mad. They got really mad. I don't know, they started drinking, I guess. But still, I think overall it was a good thing, don't you?
Absolutely.
The whole SeaWorld thing. Yeah.
It's funny because capitalism has brought us so many advancements. You had a horse and buggy, and they said, "Oh, you have the automobile, you put the horse and buggy out of business." We'll tell that to the horse and buggies that go through Central Park, or the horse racing tracks, or the sulky riders. The horses are still here. They didn't disappear because automobiles were invented. There's so much.
Well, I wish they would, because I rescued one of those horses from the handsome cabs in New York. They treat them like crap. I have to tell you, don't ever ride those. Those horses are really treated poorly. I'm an animal lover, by the way. Oh, so you said I didn't have a liberal bone in my body, but I do.
Oh,
I'm a real animal lover.
No,
I got the endorsement of the Humane Society when I ran for Congress, and there's good reason for it. I tell you, there's some things that don't. I resent the fact that, I'm a big environmentalist, and I resent the fact that has been hijacked by liberals, by the far left. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm a huge conservationalist, and I think it's the Republicans that are the conservationists, not the liberals, because we're the ones that hunt. Well, I don't, but generally speaking, we're the ones that hunt. We're the ones that do stuff outdoors. People that give money to Sierra Club, they're busy at a dinner party. They're not out there enjoying the outdoors, are they? I don't think so.
No.
But maybe I'm wrong. I think they're inside, smoking a bowl and thinking about I don't know what they're doing, to be honest.
No,
so what else is on your mind, Annie?
Man, I'm just going to call the show the Rodney Lee Conover Show. I've lost full control over it.
Do I talk too much?
Oh, man. We were talking about the way the left treats Trump and Trump's family. Recently, New York Times reporter went after the First Lady, calling her a hooker. And I think they had to pay a settlement in the court case or something like that.
Yeah. Like Trump needs a few more bucks, right? I think that's hysterical.
Well, what I love about him, he doesn't back down. He goes for the jugular.
I think Trump's been doing a great job. I'm very surprised. I mean, I'm really happily surprised what a great job he's doing. And I love some of the picks. I guess most of the picks. And some of them I'm not wild about, but I don't hate them or anything. But real happy so far. B+. And one of the things that he gets criticized mostly for that I absolutely love is he goes on Twitter. I love that. I mean, if I was president, I would be on Twitter. I swear. I'd be ripping people a new one every day on Twitter because there's nothing they can do about it. It's like a boxer with a good jab. You know what I mean? He just jabs, stick and move, I really dig that about him. But he gets a lot of crap for it, but screw him. He goes around anything that pisses off the media, I am for. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, where Obama kept on saying, we'll have the greatest transparency. Oh, no. Trump has the greatest transparency because you're hearing it directly from the source. He's bypassing the media, so the media can't put their bias on it. They can't put the slant on it until he's already had it out there where millions upon millions of people saw it before the news media. So he's scooping them. He is absolutely scooping them, which is brilliant.
I dig his press secretary, too. That guy's on top of it, Oh,
yeah, and he doesn't handle crap.
What's his name?
Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
And he puts the spice
into it.
And,
he's a gentleman. He is. He's a gentleman. He's not a jerk. He's, he's on top of things. And he explains it, and, I like it.
Well, Rodney, we're down to our last 6 minutes on the show. I want to thank you for being with us. What do you have coming up now that you're working on, besides the website that you're the editor for Joe the Plumber, called joeforamerica.com? What else you got coming up?
Well, the last hour, that'll teach you to have me on again, huh? All right. Hey, I also have my flagship site, Rodney Lee Conover's IHaveTheTruth.com. You have to go visit. IHaveTheTruth.com. We've been in business for about a year now. We just cracked the top 5,000 websites in America, which is a big deal. And we are also in the top 50,000 websites in the world, which is a really big deal. And I'm very proud of that. IHaveTheTruth.com. As you mentioned, I'm a producer and director of the show The Flip Side with Michael Loftus. We just got nationally syndicated television show. We just got signed through January of 2018, so bully for us. And I'll be at CPAC wandering around with a bottle of Fireball whiskey. If anybody, say hi. And we'll be doing a lot of live, Facebook Live, whatever the heck that is. Maybe Annie, you can explain to me off the air. And that's next week, 22nd to the 25th. We'll be at CPAC. And Annie, if you have me back after CPAC on the show, I will have another huge China. Huge announcement. And it has to do with another television show. So it'll be very, very, very excitement. Since the ink is not dry on this one, I can't say it yet because then I'll have to go back and say, well, it didn't work out. I don't want to do that. But a big thing is coming down the pike, my friend. So thanks for having me on. I would say, I hope I didn't talk too much, but I know I did. So there you go.
I'm making a notation to we'll get a hold of Scott so we can schedule for immediately after CPAC and then have you back on. Rodney, it has been a pleasure. It's up in the chat room. I have thetruth.com as well as joeforamerica.com on the show page. So good luck on whatever projects you got coming up in the future that you're going to secretly announce on our show later on.
This is the biggest one ever.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I will look forward to it.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, I'll smell you later. It's an indecent proposal, too. That's what it'll be.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rodney.
I'll ask you to sleep with somebody for $1 trillion. That's what we do now.
And I don't have that dose, so I'm not going to worry. And that was Rodney Lee Conover. Guys, check out his website. I have thetruth.com as well as joeforamerica.com. Curtis, I'm going to end off with a very special song, a different closing than normal. It's going to be Joy Villa's own song, and it's called Get Your Freedom. So how does that sound? Did I lose Curtis? I guess I lost Curtis. Well, guys, we'll be back here on Friday with Don Amarini as well as Rhino DeSico, two great radio hosts that are going to be joining us. So until then, sit back and enjoy.
Your freedom, take it by the hand and don't let it go. Give your freedom. If you don't take this chance, then you'll never know. I'm walking through the valley trying to find the light. I've been down this road and it doesn't sit right. Lost and alone, shackled by my guilt. When someone bailed me out of this jail, trying to find the gold. I've been losing this war, so I've been told. This is a lie, my bondage of fear. It's false evidence appearing real. Get your freedom, take it by the hand and don't let it go. The valley, now I found the light. I'm a brand new girl and I know my right. I made a new home.
90 seconds.
Created in myself a new future. Rocking through the crowd cause now I know I've been pulled up strong, I'm bright and I'm bold. This is my life, a fresh ability. I got a second chance and more to see. Get your freedom, take it by the hand and don't let it go. Get your freedom. If you don't take this chance,
60 seconds.
You'll never know. You think I didn't get the phone call? That I'm not aware of what's going on? I'm the girl with the baggage now. I'm the one everybody's talking about. Gossip, chitter-chatter. People act all weird around me now. As if moving to a big city is like getting throat cancer. Yeah, I made a few wrong turns. Maybe I felt like with wrong people. They can get nasty, sure, even despicable. That might have earned me a reputation, and everybody in this city loves
10 seconds.
I'm not turn myself in like some criminal. I'm sorry, but not even you standing here in this ridiculous little charade is going to change my mind. I'm not guilty. I'm free. I'm free.